configure your host name, IP address, gateway, and DNS. Your host name should be station.domain 40.example.com. This should be your IP address, your gateway, and your DNS. So if you've not gone through this course, and you don't really have an idea of how to solve this, it's better you go through the RHCSA 8 course, and this is a link to the course. And if you also just want to go straight away to the topics, to the lessons that talked about network management, this are the links, all right? And if you also have some questions to ask pertaining this problem, you can just click this link to ask your question, or you drop a question in the comment section below. I'm going to be dropping the link to this website in the description section below. So there are four ways you can solve this problem. You can either edit the Nic configuration file, you can either use the NMCLI utility, you can either use the NMTUI utility, or you can use the GUI. We've talked about this in the course of the study. So that's why you need to go through the course if you don't really have a grasp of understanding about it. All right. So we're going to use the first method, which is by directly editing the Nic configuration file. So let's verify the active Nic on the system. Um, let's do this. So we have the okay, on my system I just have one Nic, which is the ENS33, and I can also verify the active connection by doing NMCLI connection show. All right, so my active connection is ENS33, and on this device ENS33. So the configuration file that I'm going to be editing is the ENS33. So let me just go to the etc sysconfig file. All right, so I have the configuration file here. I'm just going to back this up in TMP directory. All right, so let's do this. Type is Ethernet, right? So browser method. I can leave all this. I'm only concerned about the important parameter, which is the boot protocol. I need to change this to none. All right. Then IPv4 address. I need to add the IPv4 address. And prefix. That's the subnet mask, which is 24. I can use net mask 255.255.255.0, or I can just use prefix 24. I'm going to add gateway as well. Sorry, I'm having issues with my dot key, so I'm trying to just make sure it works. All right, and the DNS. All right, let's look at the other parameters we have here. I don't need the IPv6, so I can leave it or I can just delete it. And my device name. All right, so everything seems to be fine. So I'm just going to save this file. Okay. The next thing is to restart the Nic. So I'm connected via SSH. So I'm just going to go to the console and do this because I'm going to be knocked out. I'm connected via the console now. So let me restart the Nic. Should be NMCLI. All right, so let's verify the new IP address. So the IP address has not changed yet. Okay, let's restart Network Manager. So let's verify the IP again. The IP has not still changed. All right, so sometimes you might need to use the if down command if all of these don't take effect. All right, so I'm just going to use if down ENS33, if down. I'm going to use if up ENS33. So let's verify again. So you can see that the IP has changed now. All right. So let's verify the default gateway. Let me just do IP route. All right. So the default gateway to has changed. So let me verify the DNS. So the DNS still remains the same. All right. Let's look at the configuration file again. So this is the DNS here. I'm just going to add, let me change this to 1, DNS1. All right. And let me save this file. And let me restart Network Manager. Let's verify the DNS again. So you can see now that the DNS has changed. So the part B of the question is to rename the host name to station.domain40.example.com. So we can just do that by editing the hostname file. So the hostname presently is HQDev1. All right, so we can just edit the hostname file. And I can change this to the new hostname, which is station.domain 40.example. Oops. .example.com. All right. So I'm going to save this file and I'm going to restart the system D hostname D service for these changes to take effect. All right, so let's verify the new hostname now. So you can see that the hostname has taken effect. All right, so the hostname is station.domain40.example.com. If I open another new terminal, this one would change to station. All right, so let me just do that so you can see. So you can see that the hostname has changed. All right. The solution summary is in the website. So if you check the website, you see the solution there as well. So you can either use the website or use the video. All right. So this is just one of the ways to solve a network question in the examination. And every of the RHCSA 8 course has at the end of the course there's a video for the course, and there's also a practice question. All right. content of /user/local and should be zipped with bzip2 compression format. Furthermore, ensure SE Linux is in enforcing mode. If it is not, change SE Linux to enforcing mode. Alright, so this question is based on the archiving and compressing files and managing SE Linux in the Learn Linux from Scratch series and the RHCSA 8 course on this website. Alright, so if you've not gone through this course, or if you have gone through this course, rather, solving this wouldn't be a problem. So this is a link to the RHCSA 8 course, alright? So this is also a link to the Learn Linux from Scratch series. This is a link to the topic itself, which is archiving and compressing files in Linux. And this is also a link to managing SE Linux. So you can click on these links and it will take you to the chapters. And you can also ask whatever questions you want to ask. By the time you click on this link, it will take you to the page where you can ask your questions, or you just ask your questions in the comment section below, or you come to this website and you drop your questions. All right, so let's solve this problem. The question says that the backup file should contain the content of the /user/local. So let's go to user local and see what we have in here. Okay, so you can see that we have directories in here. So this problem can be solved in two ways. We can either use the tar utility to first of all archive this directory and then use the bzip2 utility to compress the file, or we use the tar utility straight away to compress the file in bzip2 format. So let's solve this using the first method, and we can also use the second method so you can see both ways. So what we're going to do first of all is to archive this file using the tar utility, and to do that I'm going to use the command tar, which is create file verbose. Alright, I'm going to call this name according to the question. I'm going to say backup.tar according to what the question says we should call the name, alright, of user local, and I'm going to back this up in /root because the question says that create a backup file name /root/backup.tar.bzip2. So I want this to be in /root. Okay, alright, I can see some errors here which says exiting with failure status due to previous error, blah blah blah. What could be the reason? So I can see my backup.tar here in local directory, which is not supposed to be so, and I cannot see it in root. So I mean, it should be in root, but for whatsoever reason I can't start troubleshooting that right now because I just want to assume that I'm in the examination hall. So if you're also in the examination hall, I mean, if you can avoid doing a lot of troubleshootings, if you can use other routes, you should please do that. And the other route we can use is to go to the root directory and run the command. So it's just going to archive that directories in the root directory. So let me just remove this here. Alright, so my local is fine. I'm just going to go to the root directory and run the command straight away here. So I'm just going to remove this option. I'm going to do ls. So you can see that I have the backup.tar in the root directory. Okay, always work smart in the exam hall. Alright, fine, we know we can use the man page or we can use the --help, but man, in the examination hall, if you can avoid all of that, you should please avoid it. So let's verify the type of file this file is. So we can do file backup.tar. You can see that it is an archived file. So after doing this, we can then use the bzip2 utility to compress the file, this archived file, by using the command bzip2, alright, followed by backup.tar. Alright, so when we do ls, you can see that the file name has changed to backup.tar.bz2, the same way the question says it should be. Alright, and if you look at the type of compression format it is, you would see that it is a bzip2 compressed data. Alright, the second method is very straightforward. So for us to use the second method, For example, so I'm just going to delete this so it's not going to be confusing. Alright, so for us to use the second method, you can just use the tar utility to do that straight away. If you use tar --help and you scroll up, you will see some options here which I want to show to you. You can see the J option which says bzip2, and it says filter the archive through bzip2. Alright, so we can use the J option while using the tar utility, and to do that we just use the command tar create, alright, compress in bzip2, which is J, a file, verbose, alright, followed by the name of the file, which is backup.tar.bzip2, according to what the question says we should do. Alright, then followed by user/local. Okay, so when you do ls, you can see that you already have the file backed up and compressed using the bzip2 format. And if you do file, so just to confirm this, you can see that the file is being compressed in bzip2 format. Alright, so the B part of the question says that we should ensure that SE Linux is in enforcing mode. Alright, and to do that we can use the command SE status to show us what mode SE Linux is. So you can see the current mode of SE Linux is in enforcing mode. And you can also do get get enforce, if I'm correct. Get enforce. Yeah, so get enforce 2 will show you the mode of SE Linux. Alright, so for you to be very sure, because sometimes you can use some commands to change SE Linux mode from enforcing to permissive, and that changes might not be persistent, it might not be permanent depending on the command you use to do that. But for you to be very sure, just check the configuration file by using the command cat sc etc SE Linux config. Alright, and when you see the configuration file here, you can see that SE Linux is in enforcing mode, so there's nothing to do. If you actually want to change SE Linux from enforcing to permissive, from permissive from permissive to enforcing mode, if SE Linux were actually to be in permissive mode rather, so you can just do that here by using the configuration file, and then you reboot the system and the changes is going to be in enforcing mode. Alright, so since this is already in enforcing mode, there is nothing to do here, so this is fine. So I'm just going to give you a parting note before I go. You should know that tar is a file archive utility that takes a number of files, directories, and put them in a single file or single location. Alright, and tar can also be used to compress and archive a file or directory. And other utilities that can be used to compress a file are the zip, the gzip utility, of course, which is the tar-z, and the bzip2 utility, and xz, and other utilities. Alright, so this is the way you're going to solve this question. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to this channel. Bye for now. httpd-24 image. Use the registry.redhat.io registry. Use the username administrator and the password admin123. Create and mount the /home/storage/html directory as a persistent storage to the container as var www. The content of this should be extracted from this. Alright. Also, port 8080 on the container should be mapped to port 8080 on the host. Declare the environment variables httpd_user and this, and use admin as their values. Configure the container as a service using systemd and make the web server or container persistent across reboots. This question is based on managing containers in the RHCSA 8 course on this website. If you've gone through this course, solving this wouldn't be a problem. This is the link to the RHCSA 8 course. This is the link to the topic or lesson pertaining to this question, which is managing containers in Linux. And this is the link to where you can ask your questions or comment. You can also ask your questions in the comment section below, So I'll be dropping the link to this particular question in the description section below so that you can easily navigate. Alright, so you can also see the solution summary here on the website. So if you want to just come to the solution summary, just click on the link that I'll be dropping in the description section below. So let's solve this question. For us to be able to create or configure containers, we need the container tools module. Alright, so let's verify if the container tools module is installed on the system, and to do that we can use the command yum module list installed. I'm going to grep for container tools. You can see that the container tools module is already installed on the system. If this module is not installed on your system, you can easily use the command yum module install container tools. Alright, so this command is going to install the container tools module on your system. Okay, so but because I have this module already installed on the system, you can see that there is nothing to do and it's complete. Alright, and don't forget that the question says that as the student user we should create the container, but right now I'm logged in as the root user. So it depends on how your question comes. If the student user is a sudo user, for you to be able to install the container tools module, of course you would need to add sudo in front of your command. And if the student user is not the sudo user, you're going to be given the root password in the exam. So it depends on how your exam question comes. Alright, so since the question says that we should do this as the root, as the student user, I'm just going to log in as the student user. Alright, now you can see that I'm logged in as the student user. The next thing we need to do is to log in to the image registry using the credentials given so that we can be able to download the image. And to do that, we're going to use the command podman login and the registry, which is registry.redhat.io. Alright, so it's asking me for the username. I'm going to simply put in the username and the password. You can see that I've been able to authenticate successfully. Alright, so for you to be able to do this also, during the course of the lesson I mentioned how you can get your credentials as well. If you don't know how to do this and you want to practice, you need to look at that course, you need to look at that lesson so that you can be able to get your credentials as well. Alright, so after logging in successfully, what we can do right now is to download the image. And don't forget that the question says that we should use the image with the latest version, the tag with the latest version rather, which is 1-122. Okay, so let me look at the question again so I can be very sure of the tag to use. Okay, 1-112. Okay, and for us to use this tag, it's going to be a good idea for us to even inspect the image, and we can use the scopio command to inspect the image and see the image that has the lowest tag. Okay, so to do that, I'm just going to simply use the scopio command. I'm going to do scopio. Alright, inspect the occur on the registry. The image username. Alright, and this is the image, which is httpd-24. The file is quite large, so I'm going to pipe this to more. Or before I do that, let me just clear my screen, and I'm going to pipe this to more. So you can see the image we are asked to use, which is this. Alright, if you scroll down, if I do spacebar, you can see the image that has the latest tag. which is latest, of course, and you can see all other tags here. Okay, so in the exam, you might be given a specific tag to use. All right, it depends on how the question comes. In our own case, we've been given the tag with the lowest version, which is 1-112, and that is what we're going to use in this exam practice question. Now that we've been able to inspect our image, we can now download the container image from the registry. And to do that, I'm just simply going to use this command, which is podman. I'm going to pull it from this registry. So this is podman pull, okay, from this registry.redhat.io, and I'm going to add the tag we are asked to use, which is 1-112. okay, you can see that it's trying to pull the image right now, and the image is being downloaded. My internet is a bit slow. Alright, so I'm just going to pause this video until the image finishes its download. You can see now that the blobs have been downloaded and the image as well. Okay, so before we create the container, let's prepare the persistent storage so that we can attach it to the container. Alright, so from the question, we need to verify if /home/student/storage/html exists. Anyways, the question says we should create an mount. Alright, so it shouldn't exist, but it's not a bad idea if you still verify. So I'm just going to do this. Alright, so you can see that there is no such file or directory. Okay, so let's make this directory, and to do that we can just simply do make directory. I'm going to make it the parent directory on storage HTML. Alright, the content of this directory should be extracted from tmp image containers.tgz according to the question. Alright, so that's what we're going to do right now. I'm just going to extract the content of this directory. Alright, so this is tar extract file verbose from tmp image containers.tgz. Alright, so I'm going to extract it to home student storage HTML. Alright, so let's even view the content of this file. It's going to be HTML. Alright, so this is the content. This is a web file for your container images on the storage. Okay, this is nice. We need to verify if others have the read permission on the file. Alright, so others should be able to read the file, and we should also make sure that the directory has the file itself too has the read permission as well. Okay, so let's start with the directory. So I'm just going to use the command ls-ld on storage. Alright, so we can see that others have the read and the execute permission, which is fine. And I'm also going to do this on the file, which is going to be this on storage html index.html. So you can see that others have the read permission on the file as well. So this is fine. Now that we are done preparing our storage, we can now create the container. Alright, so I'm going to clear the screen. So to create the container, I'm going to use the podman command as well. So I'm going to do podman run. Alright, so it's going to be a detached container according to the question. So it's going to be an -d, and the question says that we should name the container site 1. All right, and I should also map. The system administrator has just resigned from your organization abruptly. As the new administrator, reset the root password of the HQ-Dev1 server to password 123. This question is based on resetting or recovering the root password in the RHCSA 8 course on this website. If you've gone through this course, solving this wouldn't be a problem. This is Abina. This is the link to RHCSA 8 course. This is the link to the 4 different methods to reset the root password in Linux, Red Hat 8. And this is a link to where you can ask your questions. So I'll be dropping the link to this website in the description section below. You can also ask your questions there. So like I've said, we've done this during the course of the study. We did it in 4 ways, but I'll be using method 1 to do this. So here is the system that we need to reset its password. What I'm going to do right now is to restart this system, okay? Alright, so you can see that the system is being restarted, and I'm going to make sure that I interrupt the boot process and edit the kernel line. Alright, so this is the kernel line that I'm going to edit, and I'm going to press the E button on my keyboard, and I'm going to go to the line Linux. So sometimes yours might be Linux 16. Just go to this line and look for RO, which means read only. I'm going to change this to read write. So I'm going to say read write initialize init. Alright, so read write init equals to /sysroot /bin /bash. Then I'm going to press Ctrl X to put the system into the single user mode. So let's wait for the system to put to single user mode. Alright, it's taking its time to do that. Okay, so you can see that we are in the single user mode now. Alright, so I need to mount the root file system on /. Okay. Now that I've been able to mount the root file system on /, I can change the root password. So I can say password root, and I'm going to put in the new password, which is password 123. Alright, so you can see that authentication tokens are updated successfully. So we need to relabel SLinux context, and to do that we'll use the touch command. Okay, this is going to be auto relabel. So this is going to relabel the necessary files that needs to be relabeled. Alright, so after doing this, I'm going to press enter. Then I can use the exit command, leave that single user mode, and I can reboot the system. Alright, so I'm going to wait till the system reboots. So the system is rebooting now, and see that it's rebooting. So let's wait for the system to boot up. You can see that relabeling the SLinux is relabeling the files, the necessary files and directories, and it's saying that it could take a very long time depending on the file. So let's wait for this to complete. So I'm just going to pause the video. When it gets to 100%, I'm going to resume the video. Alright, so it's gotten to 100% and the system is trying to boot. Alright, let's wait for the system. We're still waiting. We're still waiting. Waiting. We're still waiting. We're still waiting. We're still waiting. Waiting. Yeah. Need to come up. Alright, so I'm just going to try the new password, the new root password. And let's see what we've done. It's going to be root. It's going to be password 1 2 3. Alright, so you can see that we are in now. So this is how you're going to solve this kind of question. Thank you for watching, and please, you can reward us by subscribing to this channel, and bye for now.